Hey everybody, it's Melanie from Hometown Paints. Thanks so much for purchasing this tutorial from me. Today we're going to learn how to paint these fun, bold butterfly painting with lots of easy details, and we're going to have lots of fun. All right, so you should have been able to download everything you need to get this traced on your canvas. You will need some carbon paper, and I have reused mine a million times. You can get it from lots of different places. Make sure the shiny side is up. That really dark black side is what needs to be toward the canvas. And then when you print out your, trying to get this straight. When you print out your tracer, you're going to tape it together. I've already done that. Line it up and tape it together, and then you're going to put it down on your canvas and kind of line it up. Make sure everything's where it needs to be. I normally use a pencil for this. I'm trying to find one. All right, so you're just going to start tracing. You need to press down a little bit hard, but not so hard that you're going to go through the paper. Does that make sense? I do it pretty quick. And hold it with one hand and trace with the other. You want to keep this straight so that everything's in the right place, right? I'm not worried about perfection. Never ever. It's unattainable. So we just have fun. And then I can check it. I can be like, did I get all those? Yep, looks like I did. All right, I'm going to go down to the butterfly. You can choose to trace all those details in, or you can wait and just paint them in later. I'm going to go ahead and trace them, but it's up to you. And those are flowers. If they're not exactly perfect, right? It's not a big deal because flowers look different. They're not all exactly the same, kind of like snowflakes and people. All right, I did that side. I draw fast and I paint fast. So you should be able to fast forward it. If I'm going too slow for you, you should be able to pause it or rewind it. If I'm going too fast for you, that's why I go ahead and record them early for you guys so that that's not an issue. And then you can always message me if you have any questions. All right, that looks like it's all on there. So I'm going to put this in my pile of tracers, fold my carbon paper back up, and set it to the side. And now I am ready to paint. And I turned the screen this way when I set everything up, thinking it would be what's best, but I don't know. All right. So I've got 11 by 14 canvas right now. And I'm going to grab this. It's almost an inch flat brush. You could use something smaller, and you might want to. The first thing I'm going to do is get a little yellow and like a touch of red. And then I'm just going to start painting. And red goes a long way. So if you are like, gosh, that is too much for me, add more yellow. I'm going to try to go around the circles. And I didn't tell you what paint I'm using because it's on the it's on the supply list. I'm just using the yellow and the red. So you kind of decide what you want your background to look like. If you want more red in it, then just keep grabbing red and throwing it in there. If you want it super red, that is up to you, right? It's your painting. This is like wild and crazy and a mix of colors, and it's just supposed to be fun. So ours are all probably come out looking different, and that is just fine. I am going to make sure I'm painting around the edges of this. And as I'm painting, like if I go over some of these, I'm really not that worried about it because I can still see that line in there. Oops, that was a lot of red. I can still see the lines. Gosh, that was a lot of red. I think I just figured out I like it more yellow, but it's up to you, of course. You know what? I forgot to paint that flower. I forgot to trace that flower. I knew something was missing. That's okay. Go around it if you traced it. If you forgot, then I'll show you how to fix it. All right. I'm using a lot of yellow. I'm going to try to go around this. And again, if you want to use a smaller brush, you can, but I just like to use a little bit bigger one so I can get it covered. Gosh, every time I grab red, it just like really overpowers the situation. And you may like that. It's up to you. All right. You could spend all day on this background if you want. So, that's not what I want to do. So you decide how long you want to play around with it and get it just like you want it to be. But we're going to add a lot of like layers and details on top of this. So I don't know. Don't stress about it too much. I just don't feel like you should ever really stress about art. It should be the thing that helps you calm down and not stress. There's arguments about whether or not, the process is more important or the product, like the finished product, or if like the process of actually making it is what's important. I don't know. I mean, I think it depends on what you're doing with it, but I think the process is pretty important for a lot of people. All right. So I wasn't sure about that, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. All right. So I'm going to do something right now that you might be like, why are you doing that? I'm going to make sure I have enough yellow, just pure yellow, the same yellow I use. And I'm probably going to switch to a slightly smaller round brush right now, just because it'll do for what we're about to do. I'm use my little dryer to dry this a little bit. All right, so with just pure yellow, I want you to paint over all the white spots. So all the spots that you left white because there's something there that you want to paint, I want you just to paint yellow over it. And if it's messy, that's okay, because we're going to paint on top of this and it's just going to all work out. That's where that flower goes. I might just paint in a yellow flower right there. Even though we're going to do some more stuff. The way it's there. All right. Down here. You should still be able to see everything, right? I can see right through that. So I could have used my bigger brush on this part especially. Just get it covered. All right. So there we are. I'm going to offload that brush on my paper towel and then put it in the water to set. And now I'm going to get a fan brush. You can do this with a flat brush. You can do it with a toothbrush. I'm going to get this wet and not dry it off. And then I'm going to run it in the yellow paint. Take a brush that is not wet. This is a dry brush. Hold this one farther back in my hand loosely and just start tapping it. So you get little like splatters of yellow paint. And just gives everything a little bit more I don't know. Just gives it something, right? All right, so I'm going to offload that, stick that in my water, and then I'm going to dry it just a little bit. The next color we're going to use is purple. And I believe the one on your list is a darker purple, but all I have today is lavender from Deco Art, so I'm just going to use that. If you don't dry this in between these steps, the yellow paint is going to mix with the purple a little bit. And that is okay. That is not the end of the world. I'm not drying mine completely. I know everybody might not have a dryer. You can use a blow dryer. Or you can just like take some time, right? Okay. So I've got my purple paint and I'm going to go back to my like medium round brush. And I'm just going to start adding some purple. I'm going to really loosely fill in these little circles. They don't have to be perfect. They don't have to cover all the yellow. It is fine. Put my flower in there. It's not covering super well, and that's okay because we can go back and add more on top, but also if some of that yellow comes through, it's okay. And I'm looking at it and I think it's a little bit different of a shape, so I'll add some more since I forgot to draw it. All right, these things need to be purple, although we're going to go back and add other colors on top. And if you can't see it real well, you can always just go back and look at your tracer. I think there's one over here. And then, let's see, there's these flowers inside the butterfly. If you have a round brush with, like a pointed end, you should just be able to lay it down and pull, lay it down and pull back, lay down, pull back, lay down, pull back. And that point will give you the point on the flower. The point on the brush will give you the point on the flower. And that just kind of works out nicely. I might not even be following the exact lines down here, but I'm not too worried about that either. I'm gonna put that in. Purple anywhere else. You can go ahead and just add a few like little purple, I don't know, random lines that kind of go around the things. You don't have to do this part, but that's what we did on the first one. All right, so I'm going to put that away for a minute. And we're going to switch to the turquoise. So I have Deco Art Peacock Teal, but that is, there's folk art paint on your sheet, but you know what I'm going to do? Dry it. All right. That way I'm not dragging paint through paint. Try to just go around the flowers. If you still see some yellow, it's all right. I'm going to go around what I've drawn in here and then just fill in the rest the best I can. We're going to go to this one. And even if you paint over your flowers a little bit, it's okay because you can go back and add more purple later if you want to. Because this is a little tedious, but it makes it look cool because you can see some of that yellow back there. All right, so what I want you to do now, I'm going to put that brush in the water and I'm going to get a small liner brush, small round brush, and I'm going to take some of that turquoise and a little white. And these guys that have the little round circles, I'm going to paint those real quick with the turquoise and white so they don't disappear because they're just lines and they will disappear easily. I guess you could just use white if you want, but yeah. All right. I think I'm going to continue to use that smaller brush so that I can get into these smaller spaces. You have to like continue to just dip back into your paint when you use a smaller brush, but sometimes it's just what you need to do. So there's flower petals there. And another thing that you can do if you're having trouble seeing things is get it dried and then kind of put your tracer stuff back down, which is sometimes hard to do, and retrace on top of it. Or you could outline it with a black Sharpie before you start. But I don't always like to do that, but you could do that. Or if you get this far and you're like, gosh, I can't see anything, or you don't want to paint the green over the turquoise over it because you're afraid you can't see. If it's dry, you can add Sharpie before you add the turquoise. right. I forgot to paint the middle of this guy purple. Just using my little brush to do that. It's getting some turquoise in him because paint's wet, but that's okay. All right. So there's that. Let's see, what can we do? We'll let that dry a little bit, and we're going to add some turquoise around the flowers. But before we do that, let's make sure the purple is good, right? I feel like this could use a little more purple. Just go back over it now that it's dry. You could add more layers. These guys are hard to see, really. It just never hurts to like add another layer with this paint because it's craft paint. I grabbed some white. I didn't wash my brush out. I just grabbed white. I'm going to throw a little bit of white in there. If that's too much white for you, you can always go back over it with purple. Put it kind of towards the top. We're going to mess around with these guys some more in a minute, but it wouldn't hurt to throw some in there. Let's see. All right, I think I'm gonna dry it. All right, you can use your medium brush or your small brush. I'm going to use the smaller one and just start adding a few little wisps of the turquoise. I'm going to paint in the stem, the turquoise color. I'm going to, I don't know, add a little blob of turquoise all around. You can put little wisps, you know, kind of like we did the purple, but you also want to put some in on these. And if you want to make them mostly turquoise and cover up a lot of that purple, you can. Forgot to put white on those. None of these are perfect. They're all a little messy, and it's all just gonna turn out a-okay. Put some on here. And over here. All right, now I'm going to take my small brush and white. And I'm going to add white into the butterfly. Might need some more white. Just always use the point of your brush to help you get a good point on the flower petals. Pretty easy to manage. You can use white and kind of go back over these guys. You could use yellow. It's kind of up to you. So that's pretty big white. I'm going to use white and go around. If these lines are wobbly, we're not worrying about it. We're just going around. I'm going to take my little brush, put it in the white, and then spin it so it comes to a point. And put my little antenna in there. I've noticed that the middle here is kind of not real dark purple. So I'm going to add some more purple in there, and it kind of lightened it up because it's mixed with the white, but we aren't going to worry about that. Okay, we're going to do that trick with the fan brush again. So get it out of your water. Leave a little bit of water in it. This time I'm putting it in white. And we're going to add a bunch of white everywhere. Now, if you don't like this part, you don't have to do it. I love it. This works good for snow and I don't know, just having fun. So I usually go a little crazy with it, but gives you a little extra doodad there. Let's see, what else do I need to have you do before we're done? All right, I'm gonna grab my small little liner brush. I'm gonna pull some purple streaks into here. And at this point, you guys, you can kind of just like go around and just add stuff where you think it needs to be added. Like if you, I don't know, something looks a little too something, you need to add some white. I'm probably going to add some little white of these guys, because the next step is adding the black. So, you know, make sure, I'm going to work on the flowers again now that I think about it. Make sure these flowers are how you want them. Make sure the centers of your flowers are how you want them. You know, like, did you cover up too much yellow? We need to add some more yellow back in there. Let's do it like, I go from like white, no white, white, no white. Okay, so I'm going to stop adding white for the moment. I'm going to get a little black. Doesn't matter what black. I'm going to use my little thin little round brush, my little small round brush. And you're going to start adding black in here. So if this is scary, number one, you don't have to add the black. Number two, you're not going to really put it everywhere. Number three, you could use, I feel like that needs some water in it. It's hard to, you could use a paint pen. There's different options. Just like I put the highlights on the top of things, I'm going to put this black like on the bottom. Going to make sure everything is attached to a stem over here. Mine's coming out kind of thick, but it's just because of the paint that I'm using. All right, so we're going to outline. Even though we just outlined it, we're still going to outline our butterfly. And it's okay if it's a little messy. You can outline your little flowers in here. Like, you kind of look around and decide, does it need a little black detail or no? Like, it's kind of up to you. I don't know what they're doing next door to my house, but they are being very loud. Oh, and then one last little detail with the black. We're going to do the same thing with the fan brush. And I'm not going to put as many black ones probably. Although I say that and I'm like, I don't know. Yep, I did put lots of black ones. All right, you guys. That is pretty much it. Remember, if you don't have a fan brush, you can use a toothbrush, old toothbrush, or a flat brush, but you kind of have to like separate the bristles a little bit. So It's possible with a few different things. I don't like the toothbrush because you have to use your fingers to like do the splatter part, and I just don't love sticking my fingers in paint 20 times, even though I usually have it all over me. Um, that's pretty much it, you guys. You can add as many more details as you like. I think I'm looking at some places. I'm like, maybe it needs a little more, a little less. Yeah, so I can't wait to see what yours turns out like. It was pretty fun. And thank you so much for signing up for this tutorial. And I hope to do some more next month. And if you would like more right away, you can always look in my shop section of my website, and there are, I don't know, a whole bunch there. But thank you guys, and I will see you for the next one.